When a woman ignores you, most men immediately make the fatal mistake of interpreting it through the lens of insecurity. They assume it must be because of their looks, their charm, or something clumsy they said. They replay conversations, search for flaws, and in doing so, miss the deeper truth. Indifference is rarely accidental. It is either a conscious tactic or an unconscious reflex rooted in psychology. And whether she realizes it or not, her silence is not just a void, it is a weapon. Machiavelli knew this better than anyone. Every human action is governed by two primal forces, desire and fear. If she ignores you, it means one of two things. Either her desire for you is weakened because you pose no challenge, or she feels no fear of losing you because your presence has become predictable. In both cases, the balance of power has shifted and not in your favor. Women, far more than most men realize, are masters of the economy of attention. They intuitively understand what philosophers and rulers had to study for decades. Attention is currency. It is not neutral. It is power. The one who controls attention controls the frame of the interaction and therefore the dynamic of desire. When she ignores you, she is not necessarily discarding you. She is repositioning herself as the one whose attention must be earned. By withdrawing, she forces you into the role of the pursuer. You check her social media. You reread her last message. You wonder why she hasn't replied. And with each moment you spend obsessing over her silence, her value climbs while yours collapses. This is where most men fall into ruin. They believe that persistence equals strength, that chasing harder somehow proves confidence. But this is a lie. Chasing never creates respect, it creates pity. Every unanswered message, every desperate attempt at re-engagement signals one thing: weakness. And weakness is never attractive. The moment she realizes that you cannot function without her attention, she owns you. Ownership suffocates attraction. Women may enjoy control, but they do not desire what they control absolutely. Desire demands tension, the friction between availability and distance, closeness and absence. Too much closeness suffocates her instinct for pursuit. Too much absence, however, starves her interest. The art lies in balance, in maintaining the space where uncertainty fuels curiosity. Machiavelli warned rulers of the same danger. When a prince makes himself too familiar, he loses reverence. When he makes himself too distant, he loses loyalty. The same law governs attraction. If she ignores you, the temptation is to collapse into panic and chase harder. But the Machiavellian mind sees her silence not as rejection, but as a test of whether you can maintain composure, discipline, and control in the face of withheld validation. Weak men crumble here. They interpret the silence emotionally. Strong men interpret it strategically. Understand this. When she withholds her attention, she is pulling an invisible string. The average man dances. He texts more. He apologizes for things he never did wrong. He lowers his standards. He negotiates his worth. In his desperation to prove value, he destroys it. The Machiavellian man, however, lets the string snap. He does not move when she expects movement. He does not collapse when she withholds. He forces her to recognize that indifference has no power over a man who does not chase validation. That is the paradox. The less you react, the more powerful you become. And this is the first step. Her silence is not a wall. It is an opening. It reveals her assumption that you are predictable, controllable, or dependent. By responding not with emotion, but with strategy, you transform the frame entirely. Instead of being the man who crumbles under indifference, you become the man whose mystery only deepens when ignored. And this reversal, this refusal to play her game, is precisely what turns indifference into obsession. When faced with silence, the average man collapses into noise. He cannot endure the emptiness, so he fills it with apologies, explanations, and desperate attempts to reclaim attention. But Machiavelli would remind us, in politics as in love, the one who reacts emotionally always kneels before the one who acts strategically. Silence is not your enemy. Silence is your opportunity. The weak rush to fill the void. The strong make the void work for them. The first rule is restraint. Do not respond immediately, and certainly do not respond emotionally. Your instinct will scream for action, for reassurance, for some way to break the uncomfortable pause. Resist. The true weapon here is not a flood of words, but a calculated absence. Not a bitter retreat, not sulking or resentment, but a clean, precise withdrawal. You must appear not wounded, but indifferent. To react with anger is to reveal pain. To react with neediness is to reveal dependence. To react with silence is to reveal control. Think of your attention as gold. The more freely you scatter it, the less it's worth. But when you guard it, ration it, and present it in rare doses, its value multiplies. Women understand this better than men. They spend their entire lives measuring value in the currency of attention. By ignoring you, she bets on your predictability. She expects pursuit, and in that expectation lies her power. But the Machiavellian man breaks the script. He does not chase, he recedes. He creates absence. And absence is never neutral, it is provocative. This is where psychology bends in your favor. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must always leave others uncertain of his intentions, for uncertainty breeds fear, and fear breeds respect. When you vanish strategically, you sow uncertainty. She begins to wonder, why isn't he chasing? Has he lost interest? Has he replaced me? Did I overestimate my control? That doubt gnaws at her, and the more she thinks, the more her silence begins to backfire. Where once she ignored you with comfort, now she ignores you with anxiety. And anxiety is the seed of obsession. But let us be clear, withdrawal is not the same as passivity. Many men misunderstand this law and believe it means waiting quietly in the shadows until she returns. That is weakness dressed as patience. Machiavelli would never counsel waiting. He would counsel moving strategically under the veil of stillness. While her attention wanders, you sharpen yourself. You advance. You expand. Build your body until it radiates strength. Sharpen your mind until your words cut deeper. Strengthen your network until your presence commands respect. Every step you take in silence raises your value. And when she looks back, she does not see the man she ignored. She sees a man transformed into someone impossible to overlook. Think of the prince who loses a battle. If he hides in shame, his enemies grow bolder. If he disappears only to return with greater armies, greater allies, and greater force, his absence transforms into terror. So it is with desire. Your absence must not feel like emptiness. It must feel like momentum. When you reappear in her world, do not announce it. Do not explain. Let her see evidence of growth. Your energy sharper, your life fuller, your presence richer. A new project, a change in your body, a glow of progress that whispers, I am becoming more, not less, without you. And then comes the second test, her return. She will eventually reach out. It may be subtle, it may be disguised as casual curiosity, but she will reach. The mistake most men make here is collapsing into eagerness, rushing to prove they are still available. But the Machiavellian man understands. A king does not leap when called. He chooses when to open his gates. When she reappears, you greet her not with desperate excitement, but with measured composure. Controlled warmth, yes, but never surrender. She must feel that while she may enter your world again, it is by your permission, not by her command. This is the essence of turning silence into a weapon. You do not chase it, you harness it. You use her indifference to discipline yourself, to sharpen your image, and to force her mind into restlessness. Where once she thought she had control, she now feels uncertainty. Where once she thought you were predictable, she now sees a man whose silence carries more weight than words. And that realization destabilizes her. It pulls her back toward you, not because you begged, but because you mastered the one thing she cannot resist, the power she no longer controls. Understanding why she ignores you is step 1. Responding strategically is step 2. But the true Machiavellian move is step 3, converting her indifference into obsession. And here lies the uncomfortable truth. Obsession never grows out of comfort. It does not come from endless kindness, constant availability, or unconditional approval. Those things create gratitude, perhaps even affection, but never obsession. Obsession is born from tension, uncertainty, and the intoxicating fear of loss. Machiavelli understood this law in the context of politics. Men desire what they cannot fully possess, and they fear most losing what they have almost grasped. Translate this into relationships, and the principle remains unchanged. If you want a woman to be obsessed with you, she must feel that she can never completely own you. She must sense that your world is larger than her, that your attention is not guaranteed, that your value extends far beyond her orbit. This is not cruelty, this is scarcity. And scarcity is the essence of power. The rhythm of obsession is crafted, not accidental. You must learn the art of controlled unpredictability. Too much warmth, and she relaxes. Too much distance, and she detaches. The masterful move is balance, to give just enough to ignite desire, then retreat before the fire consumes itself. To offer closeness, then create absence. To leave her wondering not what you feel, but what you will do next. Predictability is the death of desire. The woman who knows exactly when you'll text, when you'll call, when you'll forgive has no reason to chase. But the woman who cannot map your rhythm is forced into vigilance, always anticipating, always chasing. This is the cruel paradox of attraction. The safer she feels, the less she craves. The more uncertain she feels, the deeper her investment becomes. Obsession is not built in comfort. It is built on the knife's edge where desire collides with fear. The desire for your presence, the fear of your absence. And this is why being ignored is not a curse, but an opening. Her silence is the perfect chance to reset the frame. Do not punish her for it. Do not plead against it. Use it. Use her withdrawal to shift the balance so that she must now seek you. This is where most men fail. They keep chasing the prize. But Machiavellian wisdom flips the board. You must become the prize. Once she perceives you as the prize, she no longer ignores you. She invests in you. She works for your attention. And the moment she begins to work for you, obsession takes root. Machiavelli would remind you, this is not about romance. It is about the perception of power. The ruler is not necessarily the strongest. He is the one whose image makes others believe resistance is futile. Likewise, the man who controls how he is perceived controls the relationship. You must not appear desperate for her validation. Instead, she must see that your validation is rare, precious, and never guaranteed. Once she believes this, she will compete for it. She will adjust her behavior. She will increase her effort. She will fight to keep your attention. And once she fights for it, she is already lost in obsession. In the end, the Machiavellian truth is ruthless but liberating. When a woman ignores you, you do not lose power unless you hand it away. Her silence is not a rejection. It is your proving ground. With the right response, it becomes the tool that strengthens your position, sharpens your presence, and transforms indifference into desire. Master this, and you will not only survive being ignored, you will turn it into the very fuel that makes her crave you. Remember the final law. Attention is the battlefield, and power belongs to the one who can endure silence the longest. Most men collapse under indifference because they cannot bear invisibility. But the man who embraces absence, who makes silence his ally, becomes unforgettable. Machiavelli's wisdom echoes across centuries. People value only what they cannot easily possess. Become that man. Let your silence terrify. Let your scarcity burn into her thoughts. Let your unpredictability sharpen her craving. Do this, and she will not only stop ignoring you, she will fear losing you. And fear, more than desire, is what makes obsession permanent.